Hello, welcome to Soul Good. Thank you so much for joining me. It is a blessing and pleasure to be here with you as always. Whoever I'm speaking to, I feel as though you have been falling in love with life. And I feel like this is something that's different than maybe what you've experienced before. There's a feeling of seeing life as a symphony versus just noise. And I think if this is for you, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay? Things that once maybe annoyed you or bothered you in some kind of way may no longer be bothering you. You may be someone who maybe once found, let's say, the noise of the city, the hustle and bustle of people, birds, or maybe your neighbors. You could be someone who once found those noises to be an annoyance in your life, or I get this feeling of you guys forgive me that it's coming through this way. I'm sure not all of you will resonate with this, but it's got this whole like get off my lawn kind of vibe to it. You may have been someone who was kind of in that space, and again, it's probably not for everybody like to that degree. But I feel like something has changed within you. I feel like something has changed within you. And I feel as though you may be really kind of soaking up and appreciating the sounds of like birds singing or raindrops on your window, the wind blowing. This could also be applicable to hearing that hustle and bustle of people or the city. You could also be someone who really finds joy in silence. I feel like, and this is something that I feel like is not common currently. Okay, so you will know if this is for you, because I feel like for some, you're coming into the space, or you have found yourself in the space where you're finding joy in the silence. Like it's pleasant. You welcome it. It's comforting, right? At one time before, you may have been someone who needed that stimulation, needed that noise, needed to have, people around you, or to be busy doing something. And I feel like wherever you are finding yourself now, you may be finding that you actually rather enjoy that quiet, and welcome it, find comfort in it even. And that, I think, is something that is, again, few and far in between. I feel like there are others of you who may have become drawn to things that maybe didn't bring you peace or comfort or relaxation before. So things like string instruments, I'm getting. So some of you may have recently picked up a string instrument, or maybe you're finding that you're enjoying listening to music with string instruments. You could also be someone who has recently discovered a like for opera. Okay, I know these are very specific things, but it's what was coming through. You could also be somebody who is really just liking the sound of flowing water. Or you could be somebody who is finding comfort in like story time. But what I mean by that is being read to by individuals who have these more kind of soothing or relaxing voices. I just feel like there's a sense of wanting to be at peace, or engaging in activities that feel peaceful and relaxing and soothing, right? I feel like it's all about that kind of like harmony and flow. It feels beautiful. Just the way it feels to me feels so relaxed, so Like there's no feelings of pressure or anxiety. It's just simply being where you are and just experiencing that moment. And I feel like whoever's listening, this may be where you're finding yourself. Couple of other things too were coming through. So I was hearing the song At Last by Etta James. And I feel like this is coming, or I feel like this message applies to not only what I've just been speaking on, falling in love with life finally, falling in love with life at last, feeling comfortable in life. And I don't mean that in the sense of like you have everything you could ever want in front of you. I mean finding comfort in existing, finding peace and harmony in existing. Okay, not doing anything. 555 just on the timer. I feel like if this is you, this was a huge change. This is a huge shift, because I feel like you may have been someone who was not able to do that before. Like existing isn't enough, right? Just being isn't enough. I feel like that could have been the kind of position you were standing in previously. Like you always had to be doing something, or like trying to prove that you're valuable or worthy or lovable, or, you know, I just feel like there previously was this constant, it feels like this constant battle where it's like I'm trying to prove myself over and over and over. That's what that feels like. And so this at last energy, I feel like, is kind of breathing a sigh of relief, really. Like, oh gosh, like finally I'm in this space that feels more harmonious and more peaceful within. Now, this at last energy could also be applicable to a soul tribe coming in, members of soul tribe coming in. There's a feeling of previously being almost, and maybe you would, there's a feeling of being perhaps lonely, or feeling a bit isolated, or feeling a bit cloaked or hidden, you know, and you could have been intentionally placed in this cave, if you will, by God, right? But I feel as though with that has come a lot of loneliness. Even if you've been growing in spirit, even if you've been growing in your connection with Christ and the angels and God, it still can feel lonely. And I feel as though if you've been feeling that way, this could be a sign for you that there are members of your soul tribe who you're going to resonate from this space, which I feel like, if this is for you, I feel like you're probably somebody who feels like, I feel like I'm on an island. Like, I feel like no one will understand me. I feel like no one will be able to connect with me and really, really get what I feel, and really get where like how I'm seeing the world and what I've experienced. There's a feeling of nobody will get it. But I feel like there could be like members of your soul tribe who will get it, could be coming in. Okay. The other thing that could be with this song is aligning with your true dreams. And the true part came in like super thick, super like it was laid on really thick. Like it's your true dreams, your true purpose, your true passion, or something that is truly, deeply meaningful to you. Okay. This isn't aligning with, you know, the dreams that, let's say, your family or your culture or your religion or your preconditioned beliefs. Like, it's none of that. It's not what society says you should be chasing. No, it's what really is true and meaningful deep in your heart. And I feel like for some, that's where that at last is coming in, because I feel like for some of you, you've been searching for that. You've been trying to figure out, what is it? What is the thing that's pulling me? What is the thing that's drawing me? What is the thing that's going to be life-giving for me? And for those that are going to experience me, what is that thing? So this could also be coming with creative breakthroughs, revelations, aha moments, epiphanies, solutions to a problem coming in very suddenly, right? It could be that just, it was all, it, like, thank you, Lord. I'm seeing it almost like a Lego clicking into place or something, where it's like all that needed was this little boop. And it's like, oh, now there it is all of a sudden, right? Almost it's like, oh, if I would have just turned my head like 2 degrees more, I would have seen it because it's been right there in front of me the whole time. So I feel like that could be happening for someone listening as well. So I was getting also some messages with a song. And it's interesting how this happened because actually late last night, I heard a train. And with that, I was getting this message of a train coming in unexpectedly, which then Spirit brought in this song, Better Days by Dermot Kennedy. And in that song, he's talking about waiting on a train that just won't come. I feel as though you may have felt like that. You may have felt like you were waiting for something to show up that just would not show up. And you're like, what is happening? Why is this not showing up? Why is this not coming in? Like, what is it going to take for this thing to show up into my life? And I feel like this train that you've been waiting on may come in quite unexpectedly. And I feel as though there's more that's been going on than what you realize. Like beneath the surface, behind the scenes, you know, the strings that your angels, your guardian angel, the angels, you know, all of these exalted beings are pulling to try to orchestrate things for you. I feel like you don't realize how much is actually going on behind the scenes. And here you are, like nearing this point where you're just ready to throw your hands up and throw the towel in. And it's like, listen, there's been more going on behind the scenes than what you think. And your train may be coming in unexpectedly. And if you throw your hands up and quit now, if you throw your hands up and leave the station now, you will miss it. Okay? So that's a sign for someone as well. Take that if it resonates. Okay? Okay, let's look a little bit more deeply into this. Please, Father, Mother, Life, Christ, Universe, Spirits, Guides, Angels, our cosmic team, our ancestors, our higher selves, tell us, please, what is shifting? Thank you. That was fast. Okay, so we have the Lover here in the light attribute or upright position. Great passion and devotion, unbridled appreciation of someone or something. This is exactly the energy that I'm picking up on. Exactly the energy. How perfect. Whoever's listening, you are developing this love for life in ways that I feel like you would have never expected. Like if someone were to come and say, you will love just existing, not doing anything, just existing. I feel like the former version of you would not even be able to comprehend that, let alone believe it. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that to be like condescending as though you aren't intelligent enough to understand what that means. But what I mean is like, because you've never been in that place, because you've never experienced that before, it's like that, how is that even possible? Like, what does that even look like? I wouldn't know it if it hit me in the face. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that is what this feels like. We also have here the Goddess in the reverse or shadow attribute position. Exploitation of the female nature and form. So interesting. Red may be significant for some of you. It might be, maybe you're seeing a lot of red, wearing a lot of red, drawn to a lot of red. That may be significant. But I feel like the reason the Goddess is coming through in this position, now whether you are a male or a female is irrelevant here, because either way, I feel as though the reason this feminine energy is coming forward is because previously there was this masculine energy at the forefront, where it's like, I've got to do, I've got to achieve, I've got to accomplish, I've got to, right? I have to produce. Like, that masculine energy is very physical. And whether you are female or male, we live in a dualistic reality. And so we have and hold and move through both of these energies, masculine and feminine. Regardless of whether you are a male or a female, it doesn't matter. So I feel like the goddess comes out in this position because previously there was not this connection with the feminine aspect, the feminine nature, which is more feeling, allowing, flowing, surrendering. It's easy. It's loving, accepting. And here's the thing, sweets. I feel like whoever I'm talking to, you had to be that way. To a degree. I'm not by any means condoning projection. Okay? But what I'm saying is, if you were someone, let's say, who was raised in an environment that you were not allowed or didn't have the space or didn't feel safe to be soft, to be open, to be vulnerable, to feel, if you did not grow up or you didn't have an environment that supported that, it would make sense that the more masculine energy, the more masculine nature would come forward. Why? Because it's assertive. Right? It's assertive. It's protective. It's decisive. But this is what I feel like you had to be that way. Like, whatever environment or environments or situations that you found yourself in for however long, I feel like you had to show up in that more masculine energy. It's what life required of you. And whatever's been going on more recently, I feel like has been catering more to healing those feminine aspects, that feminine nature, again, regardless of whether you are male or female, which has been working on putting you in a place where you feel okay being soft, where you feel okay being vulnerable, where you feel okay allowing and receiving and opening up and loving. I hope this makes sense, but I feel like this is what's been going on. And so again, there's this feeling of like, at last, because I feel like you're falling in love with yourself. And I don't just mean that like, oh, I need to love myself. Like, no, I mean like genuinely, wholeheartedly falling in love with you as a being. And I also feel like you're allowing yourself to love yourself and to love life and to love experiencing life and existing. I feel like many of you listening to this would resonate or relate with feeling as though you've lived a vast majority of your life in survival mode. And I feel like whatever's been going on more recently, and this can be more recently for me, doesn't mean a week ago. More recently can be anything. Okay? Because like on God's time, recent isn't nothing like what we think. Okay? So in your more recent past, you could have been working, like Christ, God, the angels could have been working with you in this process of opening you up and putting you in a position to be vulnerable and to surrender, more specifically. Let's see. And yeah, thank you. I think it's intentional. Okay? I really do think it's intentional, because I feel like whatever's been going on for you has been to kind of get to the squishy insides and to position you to bring that out, to allow yourself to be that, and then to eventually bring it out of yourself. And I do feel that what has been going on here is like Christ has been working on you. Helping you to release fear, pardon me. I feel like Christ has been working on you and with you to help you to release your fears of being open, soft, vulnerable. And I feel like it's been really painful because I feel like you've probably had to face things that were incredibly painful for you. I feel like for some of you, you've had to experience this gut-wrenching pain and you've had to let yourself feel it. And I feel like this is part of how Christ has been working on you to crack you open. Ultimately, to bring you to this place where you show up in the world and Christ can move through you because you let him. You let him move through you. But in order to get to that place, it's like you've had to learn how to start to trust yourself. And you've had to learn how to start to open up. And you've had to learn how to start to allow that hard outer shell to start to break down. And I feel like if this is for you, you may be someone who would resonate very deeply with, again, like there's no way, I said this in a more recent reading, like there's no way that I could have done this without God, without Christ, without the angels. Like I could not have done this myself because it requires that much. It requires complete surrender to let yourself feel that kind of pain and to move through it and to not run from it and to not distract yourself from it, but to move through it. And I feel like this is Christ working on you to purify your heart and to put you in a position where it's like, I've been exactly where you are. I hope this makes sense. So we have Gaia Gateway activation, learning experiences, wisdom transmission, earth intelligence. Yeah, I feel like some of these things, it feels like this is something that's been unfolding over a period of time for many of you. But there are some of you where I feel like it was unfolding slowly and then everything went like super fast. It almost feels like it was slow, and then all of a sudden like an avalanche of healing just unfolded. I feel like it happened quickly. Like this learning experiences of wisdom transmission, it almost feels like this bombardment of things that are just happening back to back to back. It's like someone put in the frickin' like the moving sidewalk at the airport. It's like somebody put that in without you knowing, right? Like it's just like there you were walking, minding your business, and then boom, you're on it and off you go. What you've learned about yourself and reality in such a short period of time it's overwhelming. I feel like you're probably very thankful for it. I feel like there's I can sense this gratitude, this deep appreciation, reverence. But I also feel like it's like, holy freaking crap. Like, oh, really? Like, I feel like there's been times where you're sitting there and maybe you've taught, like, there may have been times where you've been sitting there and have called out, to God or the angels or the universe or whatever it is for you and have been like, seriously? Like, this is really what we're doing? Because I feel like it has been that much where it's just like, again, this has been, I feel, to position whoever's listening where you are not leaning on your own understanding of the world. I feel like it's all been unfolding for that, and for you to be a vessel for God. And all of the masculine energy that you had to experience before all of this, where you were like fighting to survive, and where you were needing to be assertive, maybe even very masculine warrior-esque energy. And that all had to come first to put you in a position where you then had to be cracked open internally, where you then had to start doing all of the inner work and opening up that feminine aspect of that feminine energy, bringing that out again so that you could allow the divine forces to work through you. Like, I feel like your perception of Earth, your perception of the world and what it means to exist on this planet, I feel as though is not the same as it once was. For some of you, there's this deep reverence for being here. We also have, funny, we also have inner earth, base chakra, strength and security, laying foundations. Yes, absolutely. This has been the work that's been being done. Creating these firm, strong foundations for you to move, to have this stepping off point, right? Whatever's happened more recently, I feel like there's been this deconstruction period. There's been this stripping down, this breaking away, this tower moment that's been unfolding for some time. And I feel like if this is for you, the whole point of that was to break down everything that wasn't you, that could be broken down to this point. Everything that wasn't you, everything that won't serve you, everything that would hinder or prevent you from being who you are meant to be, that would prevent you from fulfilling God's purpose for you. I feel like all of it has been to break you down to the bare bones and to start over again where you are building with God. I'm hearing the song in my, actually, oh my gosh, I can't think of who it's by. I'll link it below under the soundtrack section. But it's Running with God is what I'm hearing, because I feel like the whole point was to take away all of this other stuff where you were putting your trust, putting your faith, putting your energy, putting your power. Like, I feel like all of that has been broken down or is in the process of being broken down. And I feel like it's all been to position you where now you don't lean on none of that, because you've watched it be stripped away. You've watched how easily it comes and goes. You've watched how easily it can just boop, be snatched out of your life quick. And I feel like it has positioned you to lean on God, to lean on Christ, and to and to trust and have faith in Christ. And that's it. I feel like it has been positioning you where you're able to hear, where you're able to hear the voice of the divine, where you're able to hear the voice of your higher self and your angels, where you're able to move from a way that is guided and directed by them, where it's not you, but Christ within you that's guiding your steps. And you're trusting it and you're allowing it. But again, it's been all to break you down, because I feel like before there's this base root chakra, base chakra, this representation of, feeling safe in you, feeling secure and strong in you. And I feel like before that was not true. I feel like you may have told yourself that, and that version of you may have believed that at that point, and that's fine. It's okay. We've all been there. But I feel like now you're in this position where it's like, no, that, like, looking at it now, you're like, oh my gosh, no, those foundations were so unsteady. That foundation was built on sand. And I feel like the work you've been doing and the point where you now find yourself at has all been this process of building on a rock, right? Building on rock, building on something solid, which is God. You know, whatever you call it, I call it God, okay? So maybe you call it universe, maybe you call it spirit, maybe you call it, I don't know, whatever you call it, okay? I call it God. So I feel like whatever you've been building, like the foundation you've now been building has been built in something eternal. It's been built in something much stronger than anything that this world can provide. And that positions you for purpose. That positions you to be of service to humanity and to God, because you are not led, you're not guided, you're not giving away your power to things outside of yourself. This isn't to say that you'll never make another mistake. That's not, no. But what it is saying is that all that you've endured has put you in this position, perhaps, where you are now able to be this force for good, because there are not things outside of you that can, like, they have no power over you. And so if God, you know, within you, Christ within you, is not saying this is the way to go, this is what to do, then you're not doing it. And it's as simple as that. And all of this has been to put you in that place so that God can use you, Christ can use you, the angels can use you to be of service. And that's the point. Okay, let's see. Anything else? Anything else we need to know, please? Anything else for whoever is still listening? Thank you. So we do have here the Ten of Pentacles in the reverse. This Ten of Pentacles coming out feels like what you put your value in is not of this world. I feel like the legacy you're concerned about building may not be of this world. Okay? So it's like, I'm not worried about, you know, making a bunch of money and filling a bank account, or none of that, because none of that matters. None of that matters if I have a deficit in my soul, right? Like, none of that matters if I sell my soul for it. Like, that, none of it matters. Ooh, that like hurt my heart when I said that. Because I just feel like this, you may have been building upon something previously, and now it's like I have zero interest. And I just want to point out, like, this is something that I feel like we're seeing all across the collective. There are many people who have decided to quit their very well-paying six-figure jobs because the money is meaningless. And I feel like more and more and more are coming to this realization. I feel like this is where you are with this Ten of Pentacles in the reverse. It's like, that doesn't matter to me. We also have the Daughter of Swords in the reverse, or Page of Swords in the reverse. Yeah, I just feel like it's not stimulating. I feel as though it's not truthful, and therefore it makes it that much less appealing. It makes it that much less desirable. And I feel, I'm hearing also this song, like, I can see clearly now, right? Like, I can see clearly now the rain is gone, and I feel like before you were existing in the rain, and that's all, like, that was all you could see. Is like, I'm just standing here getting wet. You know, this sucks. I feel like you may have just been existing in that space, but still building it because it's what somebody told you to do, or it's what you thought you were supposed to do, or it's what somebody said would make you happy, or whatever it is. And I feel like now it's like, no, that isn't it at all, actually. Four of Swords. Yeah, I feel like it's wore you out, right? I feel like it's like, I've had enough of this. Like, I can't take it anymore, right? I feel like it's done nothing but create stress. I feel like it's done nothing but create this burden on your mind and on your body. And I feel like you may be someone, if you're listening to this, it's just it's just not interesting anymore. Like, that's not, yeah, it's like, that's not where I want the foundation to be. Oh, and the Lovers in the reverse. Yeah, I feel like it created a lot of internal conflict, because here's the thing, right? When you are, let's say, when society tells you this is what your dream is, this is what's going to make you happy, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And then you're pursuing that, and you're finding that you're reaching for something and reaching for something and reaching for something and finding yourself falling short over and over and over and over and over and over again. And then you beat yourself up about it, because it's like, I'm supposed to be, this is how I'm supposed to be happy. This is what I'm supposed to be pursuing, that's going to bring peace and harmony and joy into my life and make things easier. And so then you beat yourself up about it because you aren't able to grasp it and you don't know why. And then it's this vicious, awful cycle that we put ourselves through because society said. And then we're fighting within ourselves. Like, there's this internal conflict and this internal disconnect and this like loathing and hatred going on. Whoever this is for, this is this uphill battle, right? It's like a forever climbing the mountain and failing to reach the top over and over and over again. But finding this place where there's this realization that's like, oh, the reason why, first of all, that this has been so challenging is because it wasn't my dream to begin with. It never was. So here I am trying to be something I'm not, in this state of resistance constantly. And being in that state of resistance, denying who you truly are, just creates this conflict within, and it's so vicious. And I feel like now it's like, I can't do this. I'm not going to keep doing this to myself. I feel like whatever's unfolded for you has been to put you in a position to bring you to this realization, so that you start to, again, trust yourself and love yourself, and then follow that internal guidance to lead you to this place where now you may be finding that you are okay with existing, like you feel good about existing. I hope this is making sense. I know I'm kind of all over the place. We also have the Mother of Swords here in the reverse. Yeah, it's been brutal. Like I'm getting, actually the word I'm getting is war, like this internal battle that's been going on. And I feel like it's been brutal, especially on your mind, right? Especially on your mind. And I feel like that's, flowed into your life in different ways. But I feel like it's like, now that with this truth that you've now come into, I feel like things are going to start feeling a lot better, because you're not constantly in this state of resistance, right? Pursuing society's dream, or what society tells you should pursue as your dream, that's not you. For some, okay, maybe it is. But if you're listening to this, it's probably not you. Okay? And so here you are pursuing this dream in this constant state of resistance and wondering why life feels like an uphill battle, because you are battling yourself inside every single time you do or engage in something that isn't you. Some heavier energies coming through here. But I love this because it's all coming full circle. It's like, finally I'm out of this, because this was brutal. Like, this was not fun. You know what I'm saying? Whoever I'm talking to, you're like, like, I can feel you nodding right now. Like, this was not fun, right? I feel like you would be nodding in agreement. I feel like you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, spiritual support. Dear angels, I allow you to support me as I grow to become more spiritually aware. Yeah, one of the things also that I'm being reminded that I forgot to mention with at last is you may be someone who now feels like you truly, genuinely are never, ever alone. And I feel like that's because of that connection with Christ, with the angels, with spirit. Like, I feel like it is because of all of this time that has been spent developing that you feel that way. I feel like you're also somebody who has humbled themselves enough to know you could not have done it without this support. I feel like there's a very deep reverence for that support too. The divine physician, Archangel Raphael. Thank you, Raphael, for shining your divine light upon my healthy body. I feel like this is a group where if you were to sit down and try to explain to somebody what you've been healing and what it's required of you, I feel like there's this feeling of you wouldn't believe me if I told you. Like, or you would not be able to comprehend it if I told you. And that's not because you're arrogant, and that's not because you're on your high horse. It's because you genuinely know you are in a different state of consciousness. And the things that you've experienced during this healing process, someone outside of you would not be able to understand unless they had been through it themselves. And I feel like you are in tune enough that you know. I feel like you can spot somebody who has not been through this process a mile away. Focus your mind. Thank you, angels, for helping me to focus on my priorities. Yeah. I feel like you've been in this isolated, okay, let me rephrase that. I feel like you've been in this, what feels like this isolated space, this isolated time. And yeah, I'm getting fear. And I feel like it has brought forth a lot of fear. I feel like, trigger warning, you may be somebody who has dealt with rejection and abandonment wounds. And I feel like a lot of what's been going on here has also been to help you to move through and heal that as well, right? I feel like if this is for you, you had to be by yourself to connect with the spiritual support that you needed in order to be able to heal these very deep-seated, very, very difficult wounds. And I feel like you've had to be focused. And I feel like the only way that could happen is if you were kind of, put into this cave by yourself, or what you thought was by yourself, which really you were never alone ever. But I feel like, and I feel like you probably know that, but I feel like there are many times it's felt very lonely. And I feel like throughout that entire time, you have been healing. And all of this is unfolded in the way it has so that you have been able to focus. And so you can come out the other side, this vessel for God. So you can come out the other side, this vessel for Christ. You can come out the other side being of service to humanity, having gone through it yourself with compassion and love, kindness and understanding, right? Not to mention the fact that I feel as though there's also somebody listening who may find themselves, if they're not already, may find themselves in a position where they are teaching others how to anchor into spirit, to not put that trust and reliance on the physical world, so that as the physical world fades, as the physical world changes, they're able to stand strong. Okay, you may be somebody who's called to do that, like to actually teach people how to anchor into faith, how to anchor into Christ, how to anchor into that which is greater than themselves, and be able to navigate any situation that they find themselves in. because I feel like whoever I'm talking to, I'm not saying you've experienced everything under the sun, but I am saying like it's been a lot. It's been a lot. And you've had to be really, 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 really strong. And you've had to have a massive, massive amount of faith. And if you resonate with that, who better to help others to learn how to do that than you? So this has been a little bit of a heavier message, but it's so powerful because I feel like this is not your story anymore. It's not your story anymore. I feel like the story that you will tell moving forward is going to be a testimony to the power of God. I feel like it's going to be a testimony to the power of faith. And that is beautiful. I want to thank you so much for the work that you've been doing, because it is far from easy. And there are people who will not do it. So I want to thank you for the work you've been doing. I pray that this has blessed you in some way, shape, or form. I pray that it helps you to feel seen and heard and celebrated. And I pray that wherever your path calls you moving forward, I pray that you have the courage to pursue it and to enjoy every step. Again, thank you so much for being here. Take care of your growing, evolving, beautiful soul. Peace be with you and within you. And I hope to see you in another video. Bye.